Welcome back, guys, to the fight breakdown. This week we got Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. Guys, this is Poirier's retirement fight. It's his last fight of his career. Guys, who was Max Holloway's first fight of his career? It was Dustin Poirier. Guys, this is going to be a great fight for a BMF title, and I can't wait. Let's get into the breakdown. For the first fight of the night, we got Nicole Cagliari versus Carli Judice. Now, Carli Judice has shown some improvement in her fights. She is known for her Contender Series performance, where she did lose, but it was a very close fight. And the one word that you can describe this girl with is output. She has heavy output on the feet, and she just looks to find her path to victory. And I like this girl. I think she has very good skills, and I'm taking her in this fight. But it's not going to be easy. They're setting a minus 250 line for Carli Judice to win versus this girl, when her opponent is still young, only 2 years older, and still constantly improving. Nicole Cagliari is coming off of a loss, but guys, she could very well get a win in this fight as well. She has the skill set to do so. She's been training in MMA for much longer, training through her childhood, and she's a fighter. She's a natural fighter, born to be a fighter. But do I think she beats Carli Judice? It's a maybe. I think Carli Judice should win this fight. I think she's shown the improvements throughout her fight. She's coming off of a win in her last fight, and it was pretty impressive as well. Do I see this fight ending in a finish? No. I think both fighters, young, talented. Don't even look at the record here, because that doesn't mean anything here. Trust me, both girls are going to look to scrap. I just see Carli Judice winning in a scrap. I think if it's going to get rough, it's Carli Judice's fight, and I think she's going to win by decision. For the second fight of the night, we got Brunno Ferreira versus Jackson McVee. Jackson McVee, it's his UFC debut. The guy was booked to fight, June 28th. He's getting more time now, but it's a different opponent, and it's a different beast in Brunno Ferreira. Brunno Ferreira has some serious power on the feet. His ground game needs a lot more work. But guys, I don't see Brunno Ferreira losing this fight. I don't. Jackson McVee, although he's good, he has 3 finishes by submission, 3 finishes by KO, 6 fights, 6 wins. It's not in the UFC. Ferreira is going to have a huge advantage just with his UFC experience overall. Do I think Jackson McVee is the next big thing? No. And that's why I don't think he's going to beat Brunno Ferreira in this fight. I just think that for your first ever UFC opponent, this is way too high level of a matchup for him. And I see Brunno Ferreira getting the knockout, just finishing him very easily. Alright, next up, guys, we got Ryan Spann versus Lukasz Brzeski. Now, both guys are have a lot of holes in their defensive game striking-wise, but Ryan Spann has more power, alright? And that's going to make a difference on the feet, at least. And then when you go to the ground, again, Ryan Spann is better. He has some submission specialist submissions in there. I'm just saying, Lukasz Brzeski is not skilled enough to take a guy like Ryan Spann. And I just think Ryan Spann is going to win this fight. I think he has enough skills to just shut down Lukasz Brzeski in every way. The only thing that could possibly happen is their defensive striking if Ryan Spann really gets killed there. But Lukasz Brzeski does not have more power than Ryan Spann. I think Ryan Spann is the better overall fighter. But then again, both fighters are always on thin ice when they fight. They'll always get wobbled, so be aware of that. But I'm taking Ryan Spann. Next up, we got Jimmy Crute versus Marcin Prachnio. Guys, Marcin will get submitted in this fight. Jimmy Crute has such an advantage on the ground. Just take a look at their ages first, 29 to 37. I know that doesn't matter that much, yes. But Jimmy Crute is a different beast on the ground in comparison to Marcin Prachnio. In his last 5 fights, he's gotten submitted twice. And, guys, Jimmy Crute on the feet is not bad either. Like, whether you like it or not, he could still strike, he could still scrap, and I don't think Marcin Prachnio even survives a scrap on the feet with Jimmy Crute, just for how much Jimmy Crute doesn't really give up. Don't get me wrong, if you're looking at that Jimmy Crute record, you're looking at loss, draw. That doesn't look good. But trust me, Jimmy Crute will get a submission here, and it'll be his first win since 2021. I promise you that. Jimmy Crute will win this fight, I believe. Next up, we got a gift. We just got a gifted fight to Dulatov. Not that Adam Fugitt is a bad fighter. I think he has a set of skills. He's able to win fights, yes. But when it comes to fighting the hot prospects, they're just throwing him to a dog here in Islam Dulatov. Dulatov looks practically insane. You take a look at his record here. You just see KO after submission after KO. Submission, KO. The guy's a finisher and the guy's a killer. And the guy's also a model, by the way. The guy's also a model. But the point is, guys, I think Islam Dulatov was gifted this fight. Gifted a win in his debut here. They just want to see him get a highlight and so they can show in the montage for his next fight. This is a gift. It's Islam Dulatov. He's better in every area, clearly. If you look at the ground game, Adam Fugitt is way behind versus Islam Dulatov. If you look at the stand-up, Islam Dulatov, again, much more ahead. It just sucks to see, you know. Adam Fugitt, at 36 years old, why should you be giving him such a hard fight? Especially when you make some fun fights with the guy. The guy could be a dog sometimes, but they're doing him dirty like this. Islam Dulatov will get the win undeniably. Like, guys, 96% of people on Tapology actually said that he will win and Fugitt has basically no chance. But it's all, in all honesty, Fugitt, he should have never gotten this fight. The UFC just wants to build up Dulatov's name. Next up, we got a guy that I think can become champion one day in Ateba Gautier versus Robert Valentin. Robert Valentin didn't look so good in his last fight. Obviously, we had that whole Torres-Finney incident where Torres-Finney was basically just hugging him the whole time on the ground, not really using the ground game to its most effective way, landing only 4 strikes in the whole fight, basically. Like, it was just a holding match. That fight should have been stood up so many times. He got unlucky there. But Robert Valentin is known for having some submissions up his sleeve. But I don't think that's going to matter versus Ateba Gautier. Now, we saw in Ateba Gautier's last fight in the UFC, he faced a very durable guy. A very, very durable guy. And he just knocked him out with that right hand. And some call him the mini Francis Ngannou. At least that's what I call him. But seriously, guys, a knockout over Jose Medina is serious. Especially if you take a look at Jose Medina's fights, how much damage he can take. He couldn't take Ateba Gautier at all. This man is strong. And guys, don't take that punch for granted. This guy's got a complete game. He's got a set of kicks. He's got a set of strikes with his hands. It's not just the wild shots. The guy's got some technique to him. Ateba Gautier also has some pretty good takedown defense if you look in his past footage outside of the UFC. Though that's not high-level competition, he's still very good. I believe Ateba Gautier is a future top 5, maybe champion of this division. I'm going to take Ateba Gautier and I'm going to take it by finish. I think the hype continues for sure. If you guys are struggling to win bets or even just learn the UFC better, guys, Fight Signal is the way to go. They have an 85% accuracy rate on predicting fights across all events in the UFC. Guys, they're the best fight predictor website that you could possibly even get. And guys, I got a promo code for you. Use FightCM at checkout for 50% off. Guys, this is what I use to analyze all my fights. It's the reason why I'm so accurate in my fight breakdowns, guys. I have like 85% rate as well. Just because of this, guys. Before, I would be able to predict maybe 60, maybe 70. But guys, Fight Signal has helped me so much. And yeah, guys, they're constantly adding new stuff. So guys, it becomes worth it. It still is worth it. But guys, something that you could fully interact with, guys. Literally, I could request improvements if I want. Guys, you type anything you want. They will probably get it for you. They will. Guys, they answer all your feedback. It's the future, really, of predicting fights. Guys, make sure to use Fight Signal. Use my code FightCM. And you're going to get 50% off, guys. It's a deal and a half. Next up, guys, we got Francisco Prado versus Nikolai Vertenikov. Vertenikov, get out of the UFC after what you just did in your last fight. Get out of the UFC. It was versus Austin Vanderford, yes. After he got finished on the ground by ground and pound, he decided to shove his opponent. Where's your sportsmanship? I don't care what your opponent did to you in the lead up to the fight. You should never shove your opponent after the fight. It doesn't matter. You should get kicked out of the UFC, especially for how not so good you are. You sucked in that fight. It's true. And there's no place in this sport for a guy like that. I'm sorry. You're 35. You can get cut. You can afford to get cut. Francisco Prado, on the other hand, this guy's 23 years old. He has 3 losses in his last 5 fights. But guys, he's constantly improving. He's been training at American Top Team and he's been grinding according to his coaches. And I believe that Francisco Prado has a future and will actually beat Nikolai Veretennikov. I think Francisco Prado is a very durable fighter and he's had some good moments in these losses. He's just been facing some tough opponents, guys. If you look at his last 2 losses, you can't blame him. He's 23 and he's young. He's losing to Daniel Zellhuber. Look how good Daniel Zellhuber looks in the UFC. Look how good Jake Matthews looks. Those are not bad losses. Those are not bad losses at all. You can't argue with that. But I think he's just going to be improving from taking those losses. And he's going to get an easy win versus Nikolai Veretennikov. I don't think Veretennikov is anything in comparison to his past 2 fights. Those are some high-level competitions they gave him. And I think he can get the KO, Francisco Prado. I think he has a lot of power. And I think he's just learning how to use it. Really. He's just getting better over time. And I'm going to take Francisco Prado with also the motivation of hating Nikolai Veretennikov. But I'm going to take Francisco Prado because he should win. Next up, we got a closer fight than people think. Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen. Now, I understand Marvin Vettori, he's very on and off, and he never really looks amazing, he's not a finisher. But people got to accept that. Marvin Vettori still has a decent kickboxing game, and he could exploit that in Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen, I'm not saying he's not very good at striking, but I'm saying Marvin Vettori is better. He is better at striking, especially, Marvin Vettori, the only thing about him is that he uses his chin for defense. That we could agree on. But or else, the guy still got some decent kickboxing. I mean, he was outstriking Paulo Costa. Guys, are we not remembering that? Are we not just going to remember that? He was outstriking Paulo Costa, and I believe Paulo Costa is a better striker than Brendan Allen. Where people are concerned is the submission game of Brendan Allen and just how deep it is. We saw in that fight, in his last fight versus Hernandez, I believe. Yes, Anthony Hernandez. 2 very complete grapplers, just rolling and transitioning. There's no doubt that Brendan Allen has better submission game than Marvin Vettori. But Marvin Vettori still has never gotten submitted. And he's very good at his ground defense. And I believe he's going to use his scrambles to get back up. I think he's going to get taken down, but I don't think he's going to stay there. We saw in that fight between Brendan Allen and Anthony Hernandez. Brendan Allen got some decent opportunities for some very good submissions. But he was also just letting the other guy scramble out of it and getting back on top. I think Marvin Vettori is just going to take full advantage of that. And I think that this fight is closer than what it seems. I think Marvin Vettori, if he keeps it on the feet, he should win. But if it's a ground game, I do believe Brendan Allen takes it. But I just don't think that Marvin Vettori is going to let that happen. I think he's a smart enough fighter. And I think he's smart enough to beat Brendan Allen. My pick is in. It's Marvin Vettori. It's going to be by decision, as usual. In our next fight, we've got Kyler Phillips versus Vinicius Oliveira. Vinicius Oliveira has been on a tear. He's been doing very well in the UFC. He's done very well out of the UFC as well. But the guy's a dog. The guy's nickname is Lock Dog. He's going to win this fight. He is. Kyler Phillips, I do believe he's a very talented guy. He's very tricky as well. But I think this is just a stylistic matchup where Vinicius Oliveira can take full advantage of. Because Kyler Phillips does not like a guy that pressures him. We saw him in that fight versus Rob Font. He didn't like the pressure he was getting. He was kind of, he couldn't make the right decisions there. And I think he's going to struggle versus Vinicius Oliveira in this fight, who strives off of just pressure and just trying to land these crazy shots. And guys, don't sleep on Kyler Phillips' great submission game. I just think Vinicius Oliveira is experienced enough on the ground to know not to go there and stay on the feet, work his game versus Kyler Phillips. And I think he just has the style to beat Kyler Phillips. Kyler Phillips, I do see him being a very good fighter in this division. It's just a stylistic matchup that he will lose. Next up, we got Daniel Golden Boy Zellhuber versus Michael the Menace Johnson. Guys, I like this fight a lot. I like this fight more for Daniel Zellhuber. Michael Johnson, he's been in the UFC for a very long time now. He's coming off of 2 wins. Pretty impressive knockouts, yes. I believe both were knockouts. Yeah, knockout. One unanimous decision. But Michael Johnson has done great things for the sport. He's had a very fun career. But the guy, look at the guy, right? He's 23 and 19. He's gotten knocked out so many times. Daniel Zellhuber, he lost his last fight, yes. But it was also people considered it fight of the year between him and Esteban Ribovics. What a fight. Just what a fight. And I think he's young, he's learning, and he looked very good in that fight. You could have gave the decision to Daniel Zellhuber. Very likely you could have. But the guy is a prospect, and I think this fight is just to build his record. I think Daniel Zellhuber, he is very capable of getting a knockout here. But I do think he will most likely get a decision. But you know what? Knockout. Hey, he'll get a knockout here. Guys, Michael Johnson, he's at the end of his career. It should be a knockout from Daniel Zellhuber. If it's a decision, I am quite disappointed. And you just came off a loss. You got to come back big. Yeah, let's go. I'm taking Daniel Zellhuber. I don't think there's a chance that Michael Johnson wins. Next up, we got a pretty interesting fight. We got Dan Ige versus Patricio Pitbull. Now, Patricio Pitbull fought Yair Rodriguez last, and he didn't look very good. All right, he didn't. But guys, he has a pretty good, ground game. And I think that's where he's going to have to take it in this fight, or else he will get KO'd. Dan Ige's got that power in his fist. We saw in his last fight versus Woodson how he could just turn the fight over just like that. And that's what he did. He got the KO there. Very impressive win from him. And I think he could get over Patricio Pitbull. My problem is here. Dan Ige is very good at getting back up in his fights from his takedowns. But Patricio Pitbull is going to have to really make sure he doesn't. Because we saw in that fight between Dan Ige and Lerone Murphy, when he was on the feet, Lerone Murphy got knocked down. Lerone Murphy was just shooting and shooting to keep it down on the ground. And eventually he got the victory. That's the path to victory for Patricio Pitbull. But I highly doubt he gets it. I think Patricio Pitbull is pretty chinny. All right, respect to the guy. He's done some great stuff for Bellator, but this is the UFC, and you're at the end of your career. Whereas Dan Ige, listen, he's not that young either, but he's younger by 5 years. He's 33, and I think Dan Ige is just to that point where he gets disrespected by all the fans, but he just does well. He has a certain skill set, but he's just faced very tough opponents. If you look at Lerone Murphy. Lost to Diego Lopez, but that was on 1 hour's notice. Lost to Lerone Murphy. Nothing, guys. There's nothing wrong with these losses. That's what I'm trying to get to here. There's nothing wrong with these losses. He's lost to Bryce Mitchell. There's nothing wrong with that loss. Again, there's nothing wrong with a loss to Bryce Mitchell. He's lost to talented fighters. Patricio Pitbull is very talented, but he's at the end of his career. If it was prime for prime, maybe I would probably take Patricio Pitbull, but at this time, Dan Ige holds that power over that 38-year-old chin. Patricio Pitbull will get knocked out in this fight. That's the pick. Next up, we got Kevin Holland's 4th fight of the year, and it's versus Daniel Rodriguez. Daniel Rodriguez has been putting a 2-win streak together. We got one iconic photo versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. I can't believe they got that shot of him screaming. Wow. While the other guy's on the ground. It was perfect. Then you got his win over Alex Morono. That was a split decision. Alex Morono looks horrible. He looks horrible as of recent. You feel for the guy because, he's he's always been down to fight, and he's always put up fun fights, but as of late, he has not looked good. And if you're getting split decision versus him, trust me, you're getting beat by Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, when you look at his career, he's only lost the quality. He's just always down to fight. That's the problem. He's just always down to fight, no matter what. Even if it's at the weight class where he sucks at the 185. Not that he sucks, but he's not big enough. He's big, but he's not. The frame isn't there, But he said that he wants to stay at welterweight, and he's done very well for himself at welterweight, getting a unanimous decision and a submission by an anaconda choke. And guys, if you take a look at Daniel Rodriguez, he's been prone to chokes for a lot of his career. He has five losses, but guys, this guy got also submitted by a Darce choke to Neil Magny. Now, Neil Magny is the gatekeeper of the division, but I think Kevin Holland gets it versus Daniel Rodriguez here, and I think he's going to submit him the exact same way with a Darce choke. We always know Kevin Holland is down to do a Darce. He gets it pretty often now when you think about it. He'll switch it up from the Darce to the Anaconda, but you'll see him get that. And he recently obviously finished the Vicente Luque with the Anaconda, and it was nasty. And I think he's going to get it over Daniel Rodriguez here. Daniel Rodriguez, not that he's not a quality fighter. Well, he's just not as good as Kevin Holland. That's really all. Kevin Holland's been active. And I think Kevin Holland is a better fighter when he's just fighting. When you see Kevin Holland take these little breaks, you'll see him lose. Bro. If you actually take a look into it, you'll see him lose more when he's taking 3-month breaks instead of 2 months or 1 month. The guy's insane. I'm going to take Kevin Holland. I think he's going to improve to a 3-fight win streak, because I think welterweight is his place, not middleweight. Alright guys, now we got a fight between Paulo Costa and Roman Kopylov. And the thing that annoys me about this fight is that it should be a closer fight. Paulo Costa has much better ground game than Roman Kopylov, and we saw what Roman Kopylov did when he fought Anthony Hernandez. He got submitted with ease, with absolute ease. Paulo Costa doesn't have the grappling exactly like Anthony Hernandez, but he still has grappling that he could use to kind of just generate more momentum for him in this fight versus Roman Kopylov. But if that doesn't happen, and we just see the Paulo Costa that we've been seeing recently, where he just fights so non-prime Paulo Costa, basically, like he's just not active throughout the fight. He'll throw like a little bit of a few combos, and then he'll just stop fighting for 5 minutes or 4 minutes, or it's just not good for him. And Paulo Costa hasn't looked good for a while now, so I'm gonna take Roman Kopylov just because I think he's a very good striker within the division. And if he's facing a guy that's just not gonna fight the right game plan, then I'm gonna take Roman Kopylov all day. Because Roman Kopylov is seriously strategic with his striking, and if this fight stays on the feet, it's going to be very bad for Paulo Costa. I'm taking Roman Kopylov. Let's go. Now we got the fight that we've all been waiting for. This Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway as the main event of UFC 318. Now guys, this fight is closer than many people are making it out to be. Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway is not really, fully towards Dustin Poirier or fully towards Max Holloway. It's pretty even. And it's going to be the closest bout they've ever had. Because in their last bout between Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway was still getting very good exchanges in that fight. He did lose, and there was no doubt about that. But it was closer than their first ever appearance versus each other. And Max Holloway is going to have, obviously, the age advantage, as he always does, yes. But experience-wise, they're kind of leveled here. They've both faced the best of the best. But that this fight is taking place at lightweight. And, we've seen Dustin Poirier just be the top contender within the division for so long. And I just don't think Max Holloway will beat Dustin Poirier. But I do see it as being a very close bout over these 5 rounds. And honestly, there could be a finish. There could very well be a finish. We don't know if Max Holloway's chin, how it's dealing with the loss versus Ilia Topuria. We have no idea. Dustin Poirier, it's been a year now since he last fought. And this is a retirement fight. So he's going to lay it all down. So I think it's either going to end in a knockout, or he's going to get knocked out. I really think it's going to be a KO or BKO'd fight. I don't think this fight will go to decision. I think Dustin Poirier is really gonna want to go out in a bang. And I think that's what's going to happen here. Or maybe we see, don't get me wrong, we see Dustin Poirier jump the guillotine. We've seen him submit Max Holloway before. Maybe he finally jumps the gilly for the last time and he actually gets it. Not a bad prediction, eh? I'm going with that. I'm going Dustin Poirier by submission. Let's go, guys. Thank you for watching the fight breakdown. And seriously, guys, if you guys like this content, just follow. I post every time there's a UFC fight week, and we keep them coming. That's all it is, guys. See you guys in the next one.